Hey guys, Christina here, and today I just kind of wanted to have a little chat with you. My house is quiet. Listen, there's no kids. This is actually the first chance my husband has had to go out and walk around our property since we moved to our new house, and so he took the kids with him. So I was trying to see if you could see the trees behind me here. Let's see, there we go. We had our first big snowfall of the year, and so they're out exploring and playing in there. But I feel like I really didn't explain on here. Like, I filmed our moving, but I didn't explain why we were moving or why New Brunswick. So I wanted to talk about that, as well as Christmas and homeschooling updates, finances a little bit, just kind of a bit of everything. So to explain why we moved here, I kind of have to go back. I'm originally from the west coast of Canada, from Victoria, which is on Vancouver Island. My husband is from the Suva area of Fiji, which is in the South Pacific. It's not actually part of Polynesia, it's Melanesia, but regardless, it's in that area. So we both grew up on islands. We both really loved being near the ocean and just kind of the lifestyle that comes with that. You know, I didn't grow up like right on the ocean. I was maybe a 15-minute drive away or so. But it was always a place of a lot of peace and calm, and it's hard to explain if you haven't lived by the ocean. It's just a magical place to live. So when we came back to Canada after being in the US for our bachelor degrees, we spent 1 year in Victoria, but my husband wasn't able to find like a permanent job there. And so he got a job in Alberta, in northern Alberta, and we moved up there, thinking, you know, maybe like 5 years and we'll move back to the island. Well, house prices continued to just soar there, and it just was never possible. And it ended up being 13 years that we were in Alberta. So during that time, we moved, then we bought our first house, and we wanted like a quieter lifestyle, and being in the suburbs of Calgary, it just was kind of, there was a lot of crime, there was a lot of vandalism, and we just wanted to live a little bit cheaper than we had been, because we bought that house for, oh gosh, $334,000, I think it was, and we put about $30,000 into it over the years we lived there. We were able to sell it. The market was pretty good for $399,000. And we moved to a small town about 40 minutes outside of Calgary. And we did that in order to save money so we could hopefully go back to BC. That was kind of our original plan. We bought that place for $312,500. And it just, when we were there, we knew it's still like we were in a duplex and we had very little backyard, and it just wasn't where we wanted to be. So we started looking at where could we buy like an acre of land, or, you know, some space so we could garden, the kids could play. And there really wasn't much anywhere in Alberta unless you go to like the really remote places, but then jobs are hard. So about 2.5 years ago now, we started looking like, okay, what are we gonna do? And we started thinking about, well, maybe the Maritimes, because it has the ocean, it has a lower cost of living, it's a smaller population base, and so it's more that kind of slower life, more community feel. And in order to do that though, we knew the job market wasn't as good, at least at that point out here. So my husband decided to go back to school and to get his master's so he could get a better paying job out here, something that would pay maybe similar to what he was getting in Alberta. So hindsight. But he ended up he applied right before the pandemic hit, and he went to school from August of 2020, and he graduated the following year. It was a condensed, like, advanced standing master's program. So as he was doing this program, we started preparing to move. We started planning, like, finishing up what we needed to do in our house to get it sold. And he finished school. The market was really good at that time. The realtors who came in said we should list around 339, which we thought, okay, that works out with kind of what we're hoping for. But by the time we actually got it on the market, it was a little less. We listed for 329. And even though we had multiple offers, we had, I think, 3 at the same time, we ended up selling for 325. And I think people don't talk about money enough. This is something that I always appreciate when I hear other people talk about money and budgeting, because I just didn't grow up with that. I don't have a lot of experience with money and budgeting other than what I've learned. So I always appreciate to hear these things. So we put it on the market, we sold it. And during this time, my husband was applying for jobs out here. And he was applying Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. And we kind of felt like New Brunswick was where we needed to be. But there were pros and cons to all the provinces. And so he was just applying for jobs in all of them. We were still looking at Vancouver Island, the Comox and Courtenay area. We really like that area, and there was actually a lot of jobs there right now that pay very well, but not well enough to own a house or buy any property on the island. The wages have not kept up. Even though they're really high, they haven't kept up with the cost of housing. So my husband originally was offered a job in St. John, and we said great, but then the first offer on our house fell through, and they couldn't hold the job any longer, so he lost that. And then he had a job in Sussex and one in Fredericton, and he chose the Fredericton one for a few different reasons. And then trying to find a house here that whole time, so like 2.5 years ago when we were looking at houses, we're thinking we could get an acre to 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom for about $250,000. Our plan was kind of to get a 15-year mortgage, putting $100,000 down, which is 40%. And the market just went crazy during I don't want to say it so I get dinged on YouTube, but what happened, and it just continued to. And when we started looking, houses were gone so fast. We put offers in on multiple places offering $30,000 over, and we weren't even considered. Like, it was just so crazy. So we finally got an offer in on this place right before we left. So we pretty much moved over here not knowing where we were going for sure. It's crazy to say all this, but yeah, the house, it was listed for $239,000, and we ended up, there were multiple offers, so we had to bump ours up a couple times, and we ended up at $275,000. There was an issue with the wood burning furnace, and so we ended up just paying $270,000. So we ended up putting less. I think we put 30% down and taking a 20-year mortgage because we weren't sure what our expenses were going to be, and it was a little more than we had kind of wanted to pay originally. The buying experience has not been the best over here. This house is very run down. There's so many things wrong with it. Like plugs not working, gaps in walls. I mean, oh, and they left a huge mess. And yeah, anyways, I won't get into all that because that's just a big downer. But looking at the market now, there's no way we could have even got into anything in the last couple months. Like, I still check from time to time to see, and there isn't even anything we could have got into. So it worked out in that sense, and we made it here. So that's kind of why we chose here and how we ended up here. Like, we literally in the beginning took our parameters and put them in realtor.ca and looked all across the country pretty much to see what areas and where there were jobs and what would work for us. And the Maritimes was kind of it. So we're here. You know, there's still, we've met some great people. That community feel is definitely here in a lot of ways, but that's how we ended up here. So yeah, there's that story. So then homeschooling. Because we were in Alberta on September 30th, or the last business day of September, which is when funding is allotted, the board, or the supervision authority, that's what they call it, supervision authority that we were with, got funding for our kids for the year. And so we're just staying with them. So we are registered with them for the whole year. We did our our fall homeschool visit before we left. Our facilitator did it over the phone. And the authority that we're with, like, they're used to having families like living overseas or traveling for like missionary trip type things, because it is a religious board or supervision authority. So we're just with them for the year. We'll have our spring visit probably on the phone again, or on Zoom or something, or Skype. So we did get funding for the year, but next year we'll need to register in New Brunswick, and there is no funding here. You just simply, from what I understand, I need to look into it more, there's a form you fill out and you send in, and that's it. That's it for the year. So homeschooling is very different here. It was definitely one of the things we were kind of like, you know, it's sad to lose that funding. It's sad to lose the opportunity to get a high school diploma, like a regular one, and all those supports. But it does provide more freedom. We don't have to write program plans. I don't have to do like report cards and checking up and things like that. So pros and cons, right? We took 6 weeks off between packing, moving. We were in an Airbnb for a week, and then here, and trying to clean just to the point where we could kind of unpack a little bit. We all have mattresses. The kids have bed frames. We got a kitchen table that seats 5, and we have a small desk. That's all the furniture we have right now. We've ordered dressers and a couple bookshelves and a couch and a chair, and none of them have come. And some of it, we're being told, it might take till the end of February to show up. So just with the way supply is right now, and especially anything coming from Western Canada, because of issues with the flooding they've had there recently. So like our chair was supposed to be sent through Costco from Vancouver, and it's stuck in Vancouver. It shipped, I don't know, a week and a half ago, and it's still sitting at the shipping place because they can't move it anywhere. So we have a little bit of furniture we've unpacked, tiny bit, but we're basically living out of our suitcases still. So last week we started with language arts and math for the kids. I felt like it had been 6 weeks, we needed to get back into something. Tomorrow, this coming week, we're going to be starting with science and maybe social studies. Without a couch, I feel like we can't really do read aloud. I don't have the books either. We haven't been able to get library cards here yet. So I feel like read aloud may get pushed to the side for a couple months unless I happen to have the book here. Our Canada history, we will probably get back to it eventually. I know we will, but it may take after Christmas, because it's just that sitting and reading and having a video that we watch. We need to set all that up. What else? The kids will probably get back to French this week because that's pretty simple for them. But I'm also feeling like maybe I need to cut back on our Canada studies a little bit. Still figuring all that out. But that's kind of how it goes, you know, when you have a big life event, you have to like maneuver and figure things out. And so that's just what we're doing. Christmas, I ended up ordering just about every single gift on Amazon because I just couldn't get to the stores. I couldn't go shopping really. And so they've been coming in. I haven't decided if I'm going to film a video because I'm trying to wrap them as they come in. If you are interested in seeing what we got our kids for Christmas, let me know, and maybe I can do like a semi-show and semi-picture what we got our kids for Christmas. But it's kind of just a straightforward, simple Christmas for us. We don't have any Christmas lights. We are hoping to get a Christmas tree, and it's just going to be a very, very quiet Christmas for us. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, I mentioned finances a bit before, just adjusting, trying to figure out what our expenses are. So our plan was, we got a 20-year mortgage, so our mortgage is less right now. If you're not Canadian, then maybe you don't know how this works, but we have a amortization period But then you have terms within that, and when your term is done, the lender will send you a new offer, or you can shop around and find a completely new mortgage company. The mortgage company we were with, I probably won't renew with them. They were very strict. There was a lot of conditions and things that, yeah. But it's a 4-year term that we're on right now. And so what we decided to do was do a 20-year amortization, and when the 4 years is done, our goal is to refinance for a 10-year amortization. Just because we didn't know what our expenses were going to be, we had so many extra expenses moving when our vehicle died in Winnipeg. That was $5,000 just for the transmission to be changed, and then here we've had to spend a lot more cleaning. We need to get an electrician in, we need to get our furnace fixed because the wood one is not working. It's not up to code. I shouldn't say that. It works, it's just not up to code yet. That's going to be about another $5,000. So we've had a lot of additional expenses, and we decided to just do it that way. 20 years, and then hopefully a 10-year after that. So yeah, that's kind of what life is like right now. Lots of other little things going on. My husband was supposed to be working in downtown Fredericton. He ended up being put in the other office, so instead of like a 20-minute commute, he has like a 35-minute commute each way, which kind of sucks. He's just gone that extra little bit. And he had hoped to do some of his work online from here, but our internet is very flaky. So that hasn't really worked out either. But he's loving his new job, which is what he truly needed. So we're glad we're here. My kids are out exploring with my husband right now. So they're enjoying the snow and the woods, and we have lots and lots of plans for this place. We want to build a big garden. I'd love to have a greenhouse or a high. All right, so my camera died. It said the storage was full. So I don't know how much I was talking and no one was listening, but I was just saying we have a lot of plans for this place to put a big garden in. We'd love to do like a height tower or a garden greenhouse. We'd love to build a garage. I'm really missing having a garage right now. So many plans. We have lots and lots of work to do here, but yeah, lots of work. It's gonna have to wait till spring, a lot of it, so we'll just continue working. This room has been painted. Not the window trim, but the walls have been painted, so it looks so much better, so much brighter. Yeah. So I think the camera battery dying is a sign I need to just stop talking and say goodbye. So if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section down below. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video. Take care.